Hello and welcome to the Magic Detective Show. I'm your host, Dean Carnegie, and tonight we continue to talk about the last days of Harry Houdini. When we last met, Houdini had just finished his lecture at McGill University in the Student Union building. He got to meet a student by the name of Sam Smiley, or Samuel Smilovich, who had been doing some sketches during Houdini's lecture. Houdini found these sketches to be quite impressive and invited Smiley to come to his dressing room before a show on the following Friday, October 22nd. Houdini headed to the theater that day along with Bess and Julia Sawyer, their secretary, and Bess's nurse, Sophie Rosenblatt. When they arrived at the theater at about 11 o'clock in the morning, waiting for them was Sam Smiley and Jake Price. And Houdini greeted them, and they all went inside and went into his dressing room. Now, his dressing room was rather small. The Silverman book says it was about 8 by 10. As they went into the dressing room, Houdini went to the back of the room and began to recline upon a couch. He was still suffering from the broken ankle that he received in Albany, so he was trying to give himself a little bit of a break. And Sam and Jake sat down in chairs, and Sam took out some art supplies and began to do some more sketches of Houdini as Houdini went through his mail. Now, after just a few moments, there was a knock on the door, and Julia Sawyer walked over and answered the knock on the door, and lo and behold was a fellow by the name of J.Gordon Whitehead, J.Gordon Whitehead, who is today quite infamous. Now, he came inside, and right off the bat, he went to return a book to Houdini. So the two of them had met before. In fact, Houdini introduced Whitehead to the other two gentlemen there. Immediately, according to Sam Smiley, Whitehead took over the conversation and began to talk about all manner of things. One of the things he was talking about, he wanted to know Houdini's opinion of biblical miracles, and Houdini really didn't want to get into it. He shifted the topic at that point to physical fitness. He wanted to know about Houdini's legendary iron midriff and whether or not Houdini could take a punch to the stomach without feeling any pain. And Houdini, as he was reading his mail, said yes, that was true, and there's apparently some miscommunication, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Whitehead started punching Houdini vigorously in the abdomen. So much so that the other two, Smiley and Price actually went over and pulled Whitehead off of Houdini, and they were just screaming, "Are you crazy?" Houdini just said, "You know, I need to prepare myself before you do such a thing." A few minutes later, they wrapped everything up, and Whitehead and Smiley and Price left, and Houdini went on with his day. So the big question is, who is J.Gordon Whitehead, and where did he come from? Well, I did some searching on the internet, and boy, was I surprised by what I found. One site said that J.Gordon Whitehead was an American student at McGill University. This is not true. Whitehead was apparently born in British Columbia, so he was from that area. Some of the biographies on Houdini say that Whitehead was a member of the McGill University boxing team. Some of them say he was a first-year divinity student. Some of the sources say he was a first-year art student. So it's hard to know who Whitehead really was. On top of that, the university records only show a Wallace Whitehead, no J.Gordon Whitehead. So we're not really sure who he is. Apparently he was older than the other students. They think possibly he was in his 30s at this time, or very close to it. There's a theory that's going around that says J.Gordon Whitehead purposely killed Houdini. The punches led to his death. I'm not sure that it's really fair to say that Whitehead killed Houdini. I think Houdini's stubbornness killed Houdini. The author Don Bell, who wrote the book The Man Who Killed Houdini, found out that in later years J.Gordon Whitehead was actually a recluse, and he almost never left his apartment. So here's what we know. Whitehead was some sort of student at McGill University. We know that he and Houdini met several times before October 22nd. We know that Whitehead punched Houdini several times in the stomach, not just once. We know that Whitehead met with Houdini at least 2 times after the incident, according to his own deposition. We also know he became a recluse at the end of his life, and he was buried in an unmarked grave. And finally, we know that Houdini did not blame him. According to an interview with Sophie Rosenblatt, Houdini's nurse, this is what she said Houdini himself said. "Don't blame that poor kid. He didn't know." This is what Houdini said about J.Gordon Whitehead. And that's it for this episode of the Magic Detective Show. I'm your host, Dean Carnegie. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you get a chance, go over to my website at themagicdetective.com, and you can read more articles about magic history. And by the way, after every episode of this show, I put up a blog article that has more information, additional information about this particular episode. So you'll see it from episode 1, 2, 3, and now this is 4. So go check those out as well. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, and thanks for stopping by at the Magic Detective Show.